Holy cow. Hi, everybody. This is Elena on another live monthly gathering for our Witches Box Q&A. I cannot believe I'm back here. It's kind of exciting. There are 4 of you, I think it says concurrent viewers. Oh my goodness. Hi. Let me know in the chat box if you can hear me, if you can see me, all the things, because it's been a whole month. It's been a whole month since I've done a live stream here on YouTube. And if you've been following us along at all, you know that there is that video at the top of our page now where I made the announcement that I was going to be taking a break through August from my 3 times a week postings here so that we can really focus on, and I can really focus on our rebrand and all of the things that go into that. But still committed to doing the once a month lives for the Witches Box Q&A. So, oh my gosh, Esther, hi, how are you? It's so good to see you. Oh, Esther, gosh, I wish I had the plant close to me. I'd bring it so you can see it. The rue plant is glorious. I can't. And the magic of this plant is that every time we pass by it, because what I'm using it for right now, you know, we have this little like Airbnb rental, and there's a pathway that we want people to not cross in order for us to have the workshop on one side of the property and the rental on the other. All that to say that the plant is part of like the little like green gate, which is perfect, right, for the rue plant. And every time I pass by it, the scent is just so overwhelming. It's glorious. Anyway, all that to say that thank you so much. I love her. And she's just exploding. So it's very exciting. Hi, Tracy from Texas. Aisha, hello, welcome, Denise. Hey, Emily, all the peoples. Hi. What else do I need to tell you? It is a glorious summer day here in Idyllwild. Even though I've got long sleeves on because I'm in an air-conditioned environment, because this Libra witch likes controlled environments is what I like. Okay. Hey, Alexis, it's good to see you. The retreat, Esther, was, oh gosh, let me tell you. Well, the retreat was amazing. The retreat was incredibly powerful. And it was just, at least on my end of things, it was so reaffirming in terms of affirming, in terms of this is the work. This is the work that we all need to be doing together. We're really moving into our new evolution as spiritual facilitators. So it was wonderful. And yeah, during that weekend, right, I think we had heard the verdict, the Supreme Court verdict here in the US, probably earlier that week or a couple days before the retreat happened, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of a blur. And it came up a little bit, not a lot. It came up a little bit during the retreat, but I really tried really hard to kind of keep us in a protected bubble from that, because we were doing very important work and very vulnerable work, and really going into the downward spiral of the anger and the righteous rage around all of that would have diverted us a little bit, but we did touch on it, I think, on the last day. I will be posting something or sending something out in the newsletter about that in the next week. Oh, sorry about that noise. Let me turn this off. Why is that doing that? I wanted to just sit with it and get my head around it and really come up with a message that was both supportive and proactive, responsive. And I haven't quite finished putting that together yet, but it did feel really healing to be able to be with witches for an intensive 3 straight days and do such holy work while this was going on in the world, because it's almost like a little bit of an equalizer. So, oh, why is this happening? Oh my God, what is happening? I don't know how to turn it off. We're gonna have to deal with the dinging. Actually, you know what? I know how to deal with the dinging. There we go. Tell me if you can hear me now, because you can hear me because my microphone's still working. All right. I just muted my computer. Anyway, all that to say that, yeah, like that. Hello, Lissem. Oh my God, all these familiar names. I'm so excited to see all of you. Lissem, hello. Trinks, hello. Virgo Phoenix Rising, hi. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the, I know it has, do you see the amount of white hair? It has really, really grown. And I'm loving the whole contrast, like my little, although the white hair is starting to come through in my ponytails and my little like buns. So we'll see. I am almost a whole year in. It'll be a year in August that I've been growing my hair out. It is a slow process, let me tell you. Emily says the retreat was amazing. It was so amazing. We have one more virtual retreat left this year that I'll be announcing in the next week or so. And then we have one more live retreat happening that I'll be announcing in about 2 weeks. Yeah, and I'm really excited about it because I feel like, well, we've been talking about this for a while, right? This is the work. All right, let me read a couple more comments. And remember, okay, well, I'll get into my little introduction in a second. Let me read what's going on. I'm just so excited to be here. I can't focus. Esther says, can we buy the retreat recordings? It was my anniversary and I was at the mountains. Oh, good for you, celebrating and doing brujeria as you do. I love it. You cannot, but it will happen again next year. So the idea is for these to be yearly. I would like to do about 4 a year, even though this year we'll probably only get in 3. So the Finding the Oracle will happen again. I don't even remember when Finding the Oracle was. I think Finding the Oracle was in April. So the Finding the Oracle will happen again in April. And the Invoke Yourself will happen again next June and like that. So it'll happen again. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate it. Denise, loved the retreat. Thank you, everyone, for making it amazing. Thank you for being there. It was so good. It was so good. I'm still kind of floating, kind of in the afterglow of that all, because I got to witness all of you who attended be just so courageously vulnerable and powerful and sovereign in such a gorgeous way. And I'm still kind of riding high on all of that. It was amazing. Megan, your first live. Oh my goodness. Welcome. That's amazing. Hey, Lisbeth, welcome. Sacred Cottage. Hello. I'm so glad that you finally caught a live. And I mean, listen, we haven't been doing lives for a while. So right now we're at a once a month schedule, because the once a month, like this one, is a live Q&A for the Dreamwork Box. Now I'm getting into the introduction. The Dreamwork Box for June for the Witches Box subscription, where even if you weren't subscribed, even if you didn't get the box, we can still talk about that. If people who did get the box have questions, we'll talk about that as well. And then in August, I'll return to my regularly scheduled program where there'll be a booktube video every Monday, a live on Tuesdays, and a live guided meditation on Friday. So August is a month that will come back to all the things. We are in the process of going through a rebrand. And it's a little slow going. My intention and my announcement had been that we would rebrand and relaunch the website and a new name and all the things July 1st, but it's going to be pushed back to July 15th because there have been some issues with the server and a merger and an update and the I don't know and the whatever. And there are words that my web guy, I don't even know what was going on, but we weren't able to really keep and save. And anyway, there's been a huge delay, but now we're kind of back on track. So I'm hoping by the 15th, it will be all amazing. Welcome to all first timers. Yes. Hi, Amber. Oh my God, first time. I love first time people. Welcome. Hi. So again, this is what we do once a month. For this particular live stream, we get together so that if you have any questions or anything about the theme for the Witches Box subscription that went out this month, we can talk about it here. The box that we sent out for the month of June was a Dreamwork Box. And I'm actually not fully prepared because I was like feeling myself and I thought, oh, I can totally wing it. And now I'm like, I don't remember what was in this box, but I do remember what was in this box. This box had a deck. I think that are we sold out, Emily, of that? I don't even think that we're sold out of this box. We maybe have like a handful of these boxes left. So do I have the deck here? It had a dream interpretation deck of cards that was different than the other oracle cards that we've ever sent out or that we've seen, because the oracle deck or the dream interpretation deck that I sent out in this box is really intended to help jog your memory of the themes that you dreamt about the night before. So it's more of a spread them all out and see which ones speak to you as a way to really kind of jog your memory and help you remember what your dream was. We also had a bag of Damiana in there and a bag of mugwort. Both of them can help in the dream time, and we talked a lot in the box and in the pages in terms of, and in the main video, the deep dive class that went out with that box, which is private, not obviously this. It's private to those who were subscribed and private to those who bought the single box. I talk in there about, and we can talk about it here if you have questions about Damiana and mugwort, but I talk about the difference between the two, when to use which, and how to create for yourself a practice where you're using these botanical allies in helping you with your dream work. I talked about what dream work is and all the things around that. We talked about, and we can talk about this beautiful little entity here. This is called a devil pod or a bat nut. It's got other names as well, but it's an incredible, do you see it? Let's see. Does it? There you go. This is a smaller one. Some of you got really huge ones, but you can see like it looks like it has little eyes. Oops. Let's see. How do I do this? Little eyes, and then you can't really see it, but like little teeth. It looks like a devil's head or devil's face. So we talked about this and how to use this as a protection talisman while you're dreaming. There's this, everyone got like a yummy eye pillow. I don't even know what else came in this box, but all of that to say that we're here to talk about that. So if you have questions about dream work, if you have questions about the box and how to use the tools, go for it. We still have a couple of those boxes left, so you can go ahead, and Emily just posted the link to it. So thank you, Emily. Click that and get it, but don't leave this window yet. What else? And that box comes with a link to the replay to a deep dive class. So every single box, this is the truth of the box. The box, what you pay for isn't really the box. You're not paying for the box, you're paying for the class. So what happens is at the beginning of every month, if you're subscribed to the box, you get a link in our forum, because we have a community forum that you get to be a part of. And that is like a deep dive class on the topic of that month. And then you get a box, and the box is tools to help support the practices that we talked about in the class. Does that make sense? And so this is like a second opportunity to just let's chat, let's talk, and then also give others an opportunity who are not subscribed to the box to learn something. So that's what we're doing here. All right, because holy cow, look at all these wonderful words. Also, because I never do this, subscribe, like, do the things, yeah? I saw that. Michelle, hello, great to have you. Jill Mar, warm hugs to you, wonderful. Where did you get the eye pillows from? I want to get more. Oh my God, Lisbeth, I got eye pillows from about 5 different sources because shipping, supply chain, the whole thing. So there were a couple of, I can post, I don't know if you are subscribed. I can post it in the forum on the thread for the box. I got, I think it was 3 different Etsy creators and 3 different Etsy creators. What is, and a yoga supply store called Hunky Dory Yoga. But if I'm not mistaken, the Hunky Dory is spelled funny. I don't remember, but that was another vendor that I got them from. 3 Etsy's, and I think that was that 3 Etsy's and Hunky Dory Yoga is where I got them. So everyone got they're all different, not all different, like in batches. We got batches from everybody. Oh gosh, wait, hold on. Esther says, love the box. Thank you. The pod was a new item for me. Very interesting piece. Have you used it before? I have. So the story on these are like, they're not officially a water chestnut, but they're like a water chestnut. And when they're harvested fresh, I believe they're fresh water. When they're harvested fresh, you open them up. They're not fresh. So when you open them up, it's all going to be dried up and it's not going to be edible now. But when you open them up, it's like a white fleshy chestnut, but it's a water chestnut type of plant. And a lot of times you can find these in Asian markets unshelled so that you can eat them in salads or stir fries or all the things. So it's actually a food, but these are like dried now. You only want to eat them when they're fresh. And it's a protection talisman. It looks like a little mini demon or a little mini devil that's there to protect you. So in the box, we talk about using this as a talisman for protection while you're dreaming. And then because I am a salt queen, in the deep dive video, we talked about, I put this just in the middle of a little salt bowl. I don't have my salt bowl here because the one that I have here is for my office, but I put this in the middle of a salt bowl. And then because I like to add a bunch of other things, it's usually surrounded by roses, because roses is my like patron botanical. So like that. But I love these and they come in different sizes. There are actually 2 different, if you go like to Etsy, what is the botanical that I buy from? Oh my God. There is some kind of hoodoo voodoo going on with this shop because I go to this shop often and I never remember the name. It is like a general botanica or but it's a massive like emporium of like all sorts of great witchcraft items that are more organic, you know what I'm saying? Um what is it called? But the other place that you can get these are luckymojo.com will also sell these. There are two different types. This is the real one, and then there's another one that has more like spindly, like not horns, but spindly, like antler looking. It's also a pod. So both can be used, or both are generally used interchangeably out there in the markets. But this is the one that has these very spiky horns, and usually this is a smaller one. Usually the horns, like, you know, do a little curl. So there are two different types, but this is the one that you want. And this is the actual devil pod. The other one is not a devil pod, but it's associated with a devil pod. So they call it that. It's not. So there you go. But I love it because I'm going to get into a whole thing that you didn't even ask about. But this on its own becomes its own little entity. You have your own little talisman / protection entity that you can work with, that you can honor, that you can nourish, and that you can work with over time to really protect the space. People have carried this in their pocket. People leave these in different parts of the house, or like kind of tuck them in on either side of like the door frame to the entrance of the home. You can put them, if you have like a yard with a gate, on either side of the gate. Like they become entities or holders of entities, one or the other, that can be really protecting. I love it. I love it because the visual gives you a personality in a lot of ways. I really like these little ready for action guards. I love it. Oh, here. So there you go. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And this should last you forever unless you break it, but I'm really happy with this. Callum. Hi, Callum. I've not done much work with the deck or the eye pillow as I've been keeping a nightly dream journal for now. Oh, beautiful. Perfect. That plus my usual oolong tea. Yay for the Witch's Box herbs with orange zest and honey every night. Oh, that sounds delicious. Yeah, I mean, work it how you want to work it, for sure. Tracy says, can I just get this dream box without? Yes, you can. I lost my oldest son. Oh, Tracy, I'm so sorry. I lost my oldest son a few months ago and I'm beginning to have nightmares. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. Sending you love, because I know that's a devastation unlike any other. You can buy the box. Emily, a few posts up, Emily posted the link to just the single box purchase. I'm not sure how many we have left. It's got to be a handful because they've been on sale for a while and they usually sell out. Virgo Phoenix Rising says, do you recommend using black salt with the adorable devil's pod? Also, are the dream states I go into while meditating the same as when I sleep? Let me answer in order. So I would not use black salt. Well, is that true? You can use black salt. Black salt is a different movement of energy than regular salt, right? So black salt is actively drawing in and eliminating the negativity. The regular salt just neutralizes everything. So it's almost the same, but it's not, because it just gives you a super clean slate. There's no good, there's no bad. There's just like an even playing field. And then what you add to the salt is what filters in exactly what you want. And so for me, the way I do it is I have regular salt. I've got this little guy like protecting anything that might come through as a little extra, right? And then around the bowl, I put rose, because all I really want is fierce protective love in my space, especially in my bedroom. So that's how I do it. So the salt, it just depends on what you're working with and what you're doing. The black salt will be a drawer of negativity, but it'll leave everything else there, which you might want, right? You might want whatever else is in your bedroom at the time to stay energetically and just get rid of the negative. That can work as well. Callum says the bat nut is on top of a huge chunk of celestite I have on a little window shelf above the door of my room. Beautiful. Alexa says, love the eye pillow. I know, it doesn't, don't they smell really good? I just love eye pillows. I use eye pillows when I'm having a really hard time falling asleep and I just need that kind of nurturing weight. So I'll lay on my back for a while and I'll have it on my eyes just to begin that relaxation process. And then at some point I fall asleep and then it just kind of slides off and, and gratefully, well, I haven't had to use that in a while, but I have had some restless sleep. So I should probably pull it back out and try it. Okay, you've got links there. Hold on a second. Sorry, I just lost my place in the chat. Subscribe, like, do all the things. I actually cannot say that that's original. Subscribe, like, and do all the things. I think I picked that up from, I don't know who I picked that up from. Someone else on YouTube. I think it's Emily D. Baker, but maybe I'm not, that's not true. But Emily D. Baker is the attorney, who I love. I just have like an obsession with her. So I can't take credit for it, but I love it. Subscribe, like, do all the things. All right. Esther says, Elena, will you be bringing back the Zooms for the boxes in the future? I appreciate your in-depth video. The forum chat is lacking most months. I know it really is, and I'm bummed about that. So get to the forum, everybody. Start talking to each other. I probably will not. Honestly, only because of my energy level in the evening. I'm not able to give it as much energy when it happens. Last night we had our live for the book subscription, and I also felt, and I'm going to keep those because of the authors, but the reality is that I'm just like, wow, I'm really, really tired. By the time 7 hits, or by the time even 6:30 hits, I'm just like not able to put out anymore. So in order to honor that, I decided to change it up and do the recorded videos, but we'll be changing things around in a way that hopefully will give all of you more opportunity for interacting. So hold tight, see what happens. I don't know what that comment is about. Oh, I think that's comments about the pod. Okay, got it. All right, I'll post the eye info information, or the eye pillow info, in the forum. The bat nut is really neat. Love that it's for protection. My patron botanical is Rue. I mean, Rue is just kind of a badass. Not gonna lie. Oh, thank you so much, Emily. So Emily posted the link to luckymojo.com and the catalog. It's the website is challenging. The website is a website, feels like it's out of 2006. Like it's like that kind of an old school website with like a million links. But when you find your way finally through the all of it, you find the store, and there's a lot there that you can order. There's also a ton of information on the website. There's like all the links lead to super informative, super educational pages, but it's like, it's a lot. That website is like, get ready to be overwhelmed. So, sit down with like a little chamomile tea or a little skull cap and then like do your browsing, because it's a lot. Megan says, what is the best way to get downloads through dreaming? I think that the best way, first and foremost, is to really make it a practice and hone your muscle for remembering. Because when you start to hone your muscle for remembering in the morning, you start to also begin to develop the muscle for being aware that you're dreaming and having lucid dreams. And that's when, I don't know if you know, but lucid dreaming is when you're dreaming, but you know that you're dreaming, and then you kind of maneuver yourself through the dream in a way that you like, for either for fun, like the fantasy of flying and visiting a friend and doing all these different things, or for the purposes of magic. So in terms of downloads, this is how I work, because at this point I've been doing this for a while, a long time. I always drop a question in, and I don't drop it in once. Like if I want a specific download, and you need to be specific about what you're looking for. You can't just say, oh, I'm open to downloads. Don't do that. Always be specific about what you're looking for. I'd love wisdom and learning about this, or I'd love an answer to this particular question, or I'm having trouble seeing what this is about. Can you tell me? You can even ask specific, either a deity or specific entities or an ancestor, to really be the one to answer that through your dream time. And I would drop it in regularly, nightly, for a while, either a week, 2 weeks, or a whole month, depending on what you're getting. Because what happens is, and we talked about this in the deep dive video, where unless you're already really familiar with the language of receiving that you have, it's going to take you a while to get the full picture. So sometimes you'll get a dream and you're like, I don't even know what the hell that means. You need to write it down, and then you need to go back the next night and do it again and ask again and write down what you got the next night, because it's not common to get like someone, like some figure that says, hey, this is the answer to your message. This is the full download. This is like the whole cartridge of information that you're looking for. Boom, it's in. You're going to really get it in various different ways that are not as predictable, or it's not as comfortable or convenient for us, right? Sometimes the language is in symbols. Sometimes, obviously, it's most of the time in metaphor, because that's the language of dreams. Sometimes it's in sensations that you got in the dream while dreaming of another story, right? So the act of every night you do the same ritual, you go to sleep the same way. For this, I really like mugwort in order to open up that like receptivity. Drink a little bit of mugwort, or if you don't want to drink it, you have a little sachet of it under your pillow or a little bowl of it in your bedside. Ask the question, go to sleep, ask to be able to remember, and then write down everything. Write down the mood that you woke up with, write down the sensations that you woke up with, write down the hint of what it was that you might remember. I am, not that you asked, but this is how I roll. I pee about 2, maybe sometimes 3 times a night. And so when I wake up to do that, I'm usually half awake, because now I know my route to the bathroom, right? Like, most of us, like, I stumble to the bathroom with eyes closed. But in that moment, I remember. And if I don't write down what I remember for that previous sleep session down, by the time I wake up in the morning, I totally forget. So now I used to like write it down, but it's like too disruptive, especially when you have someone in bed with you, to like turn on the light, get the book, get the pen. And then also it becomes harder for me to go to sleep. So I have like we all have a note app on our phone. I just grab it really quick. I just type 2 or 3 words. I put it down. I go back to sleep. And that helps me remember the dreams that I had before I got up to go pee, because that's always a disruptor. All that to say that when I wake up in the morning, or when you wake up in the morning, write everything down, even if it's not a sentence or a message. It's the symbols, it's the colors, it's the mood that you woke up in. And if you do this for a week to a month, you are going to have a fuller picture of what it is that you've been receiving, or what the answer is, or what the download is for that information. If you're really adept at this, it may just take one night, right? So it just depends on where you're at. And sometimes you could be really adept at this, and sometimes you ask for something and it'll take a while for it to fully come through. And that's totally okay. I hope that answered the question. Wait, I may have, wow. Okay. Lucky Mojo. Got it. Emily says, I've never named it, but I think mugwort might be my patron botanical, but I use rose so much as well in most things. Damiana too. I mean, this is the part where it's like, right? You fall in love with like more than one. And can you have more than one? You probably could. Because I mean, rose is the big deal, but so is cedar for me. Yeah. I mean, ask them if it's okay that you have more than one. You can probably have more than one. Like your you can have a botanical council, like your patron council of botanicals. I just made that up in my head, but go with it, because I think that's brilliant. So you can have a botanical patron council of 3, 4, or 5, or whatever. We got to play with that. Okay. The Sacred Cottage says it is Terrace Rustic Designs. I found a bunch on the shop, and she even makes jewelry out of these. Oh, out of the pods. Oh, that'd be really cool. Esther says, where do you recommend that we set up the devil pod? I mean, you can put the little bowl on your nightstand or on your dresser. Some people have a hard time putting that on their nightstand, because if you like flail at night, I don't know, you might topple it over. If you have, like, for a long time, we do now too, but we don't have that kind of windowsill that would hold this. But in our previous home, we had like a windowsill above the bed, and I would put like a little mini altar on top of that windowsill right above the bed. But on a nightstand, somewhere on a dresser, somewhere that isn't going to get disturbed or knocked over, or, have a pet curious about it. You could also have the devil pod in a charm bag and put it under your pillow, but they're kind of like a little aggressive, yeah? They're like, this is a super, do you see? Like super pointy horns. They hurt. Oops, sorry. I just really disrupted you guys. They hurt. So you know what, having it under your pillow, depends on how you sleep. Like I'm always like tucking my hands under my pillow. Jumar says, dreaming while awake. I've noted this for myself during menopause and now within post-menopause. Ooh, dreaming while awake. Can you say more about what that experience is for you? I would love to hear that. Elizabeth says, Elena, I just dried rose petals today. Any ideas and or tips for use? I don't even know where this came from, because this is kind of where my mindset has been the last couple of days, because I'm working on a ritual. But the first thing that came to mind was take them in a mortar and pestle, turn them into dust, and you can turn that into a paste for art. You can turn that into a paste for decorating your face before a ritual. A summer ritual, be really sexy with that. The other thing that you can do is, also a ritual of self-blessing where you mark your body with protective, loving sigils with that rose paste. What else can you do with it? I just saw, and I'm so mad at myself. I was scrolling through videos on Instagram. I don't even remember who the account was, because it was a suggested food account, but someone was making this gorgeous rose jam. So they took all these rose petals and they boiled it and did the sugar, and I think there was cinnamon involved, but they made a rose jam out of boiled rose petals. And I thought, oh my God, how beautiful is that? Anyway, that's what's just come to mind right now. But rose is, if it's dried, I love to use dried rose petals in my salt bowls, because as I've said 1,000 times, because I love it so much, rose is that fierce protective love. It's also about beauty, and it's steadfast. It's really enduring and strong. It is a great ingredient for all of those types of spells, or spells for those things. And I like to put it in my bowl, my salt bowls, because that's what I like to have in my space. That's what I like to surround myself with. And so that's how I use it. But anyway, those are just some ideas. Callum says, I saw on the forum a little bit ago about someone making rose petal ink. Oh, yes. Also rose petal ink. I loved that. Mochi says, Emily fan here as well. Oh, yay, an Emily fan. And I think she also always says, do all the YouTubey things. There you go. Elizabeth Kellum, I am not on that forum. Yeah, and I don't remember. Oh, yeah. Crap and a half. Sorry, I completely skipped. Oh my goodness, sorry. Okay. I distracted myself with skipping and looking for where I left off in the chat, and now I don't remember what I was going to say. All the YouTubey things going on that forum. Oh, I don't remember her ink. I don't remember her ink recipe, but I imagine that if you have a quill, or if you have, I don't know if it would work in a fountain pen, but if you ground it all up to a fine powder and then added enough water to it, or water as a base with enough of the powder in it, you can make your own ink that way. Because that's how I've used it before, like just with a brush, like for art. You can do that. So it would depend on the consistency, but there's so much that you can do, especially too when you start to like explore the different colors of roses. Oh my God, there's so much you can do. I love it. Kellum says it's dead simple to sign up. Just go to the website, set up an account, and then you'll be good to go. At least I think so, Elizabeth. That's exactly how to do it, Kellum. If you're going to be part of the Witches Gathering forum, which is free for everybody. But then we have a couple of private forums. We have a private forum for the Witches Box subscribers. We have a private forum for the Witches Book subscribers. And then each of the retreat groups has had their own forum as well, to either continue talking, watch videos, or connect with each other. So we've got a couple of different varieties. So we have the one free one that everyone can participate in, and the others are dependent in terms of what subscriptions you are a part of. Yes, thank you, Emily. And Megan, if I didn't say that, but definitely keep a dream journal. I think it was for the Fierce Protection Spellbox forum page. I think I know what you're talking about, but since you're talking to someone else, I'm not going to ask for clarification. Hi, Emerence. Yes, I missed the book dive last night because I finally got comfortable around 5 p.m. Apparently, I nodded off waiting and woke up after everything was over. So bummed. I'll catch on the replay later. I should be able to put the replay on the forum for that book today. It was really, really good. It was actually, it was about an hour. So informative. I really, it's a great book. We actually still have a couple of them on sale. The Energy to Heal. I really feel like every single one of you needs to get this book because we talk so much in the witchcraft space about, and rightly so, and as we should, botanical healing and the different things that we can do to help heal and deal with symptoms and ailments. But this book speaks to the energy underlying all of it. And it speaks to how to manage and to move that energy and to realign that energy, particularly when we are walking around so traumatized, a way to keep the energy flowing in a way that is healthful for us, as opposed to those stuck patterns that we begin to pick up and collect over time. Because of life, because of trauma, because of all the things. And so it's a really great book. I'm really glad that we were able to get it and send it out for the subscribers for this book box the book box, because the other book was great as well. But honestly, this is the one. And so last night we had the live for it, but we only had this author on with us. And I cannot say enough. In fact, after I get off of this live, I'm going to record a booktube review of this book so that it can go live in August. A little behind the scenes there. Janice says, I thought I was getting this month's box, but I'm getting next month's. When will you be having a video on that? Okay, so let me just orient myself to where we are on the calendar. So you're saying you thought you were going to get the dream box, but you didn't. You're going to be getting the July box. You're going to be getting the July box. And I just made that video. I think it was yesterday. Tree should get it to me by Friday. So by Friday, that should go live. And those boxes should go out, I'm hoping by next Wednesday. Those should hit the mail by next Wednesday. That has been a big box. You're going to get a smaller box. Don't be fooled by the size of the box, because we were able to find a box that is the same like length and width, but half the depth, because it just made it all fit so beautifully. And I'm like, oh, I love it. And it's also less paper, less footprint, less all the things. But we have been brewing along. It is a botanical fest in that workshop where every time I walk in and walk out, I come out like covered in just everything. Erica, same. Erica's just like, poor girl, although it's my happy place. I love stinking like a bunch of different botanicals, but we have been blending these amazing incenses, all the oldies and goodies that everyone's been like asking for years now. They're coming back, and you're getting the recipes for them. So that's a big deal. So that's what's coming, and that should be mailed out hopefully by next Wednesday. They'll be, well, I don't know. Maybe by next Wednesday. Let's cross our fingers. We'll see, because we still have quite a lot of blending to do. This is part of the reason why I don't really do these blends like this anymore, because it just takes so long with the quantities that we've got working with. Hi, Christina. Welcome to your first time. What we're doing is this is a Q&A for the box that we sent out for the month of June, which is the Dreamwork Box. Even if you didn't get the box, this is just an open forum for people to ask questions about Dreamwork and the theme in general. Right, Botanical Council. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget, because I almost had already forgotten. Where's my pen? Yeah, your Botanical Council, or your Botanical Patron Council. Botanical Patron. I'm gonna write something about that. That makes me excited. Thank you. We co-created that. Is that what we did? Esther says, my dreams have been intense since I attended the Oracle retreat. Huge shifts happening for me. Thank you so much, sister. You're welcome. I'm so glad that it served you well. It was, um, I have to say this. I've spent almost 5 years with the Witch's Box. We're going to be 5 years old in October, which just, wow. And I don't even know how I want to say this. It's been an amazing ride, but I hadn't remembered. Like, I have notes and notebooks, and I have my own practices, and I do my own things, and I've tried to translate as much of that as I can through the box, but it hasn't fully translated. And now that I'm like, we just did a third retreat. 2 of them were virtual. One of them was live. And because I'm now putting all of that into practice, I realize, this isn't even kind of a humble brag. I know a lot, and I come to the table with a lot. I've worked for almost 30 years learning, and I had forgotten, which is so crazy. I had forgotten until now. I had to put everything that I know into notes for the first virtual retreat and then the second virtual retreat. And it has been such a joy because you take for granted what you know, and watching and receiving the mirror from all of you in terms of how much it's affected you has been both an honor, but also such a revelation. Like, oh my God, I forgot what I knew. Right. So I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for the feedback, and I'm grateful that it was of service to you because, wow. And also how much I get out of it. It's been just amazing. Again, as I said, I'm still high from our last virtual retreat, which happened last weekend. Oift. Hold on. I lost track again. Sorry. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm super behind on the comments. That's number 1. And number 2, here we go. Lasem says, I have been blocking my dreams for years, but recently felt safer dreaming in general. I'm remembering that I did dream, but rarely any details. The timing of the box is perfect. Wonderful. I hope that it's like anything. We practice. I am, turning back to like some deep body self-care. And when you haven't worked out for a long time, you completely lose those skills. Your muscles will remember, but the body's like, I just running for that long, moving for that long is so hard now. When you get back on the practice, it comes back. You know what I mean? It's just about the practice. And we have the privilege and the resource of time. I mean, life, I was just talking to Erica from the workshop yesterday, where life is long, but it's also short, right? There's that paradox. But we practice every day, and in that we have a lot of time to explore and to develop it again. It'll come back. It'll definitely come back. I think somewhere. Okay, got it. So Emily's taking care of the link. Megan, yes, it did. Thank you. Okay, so that was a response. Callum says, it could be because I'm not part of Team Witchery. Maybe ask Emily for the link. Oh, yeah, I think that, which is kind of lame, but I think that people are not allowed to post links if they're not moderators. Elizabeth laughs. Some of my guides must be talking to you because the first word you said was art. I have not been painting for a couple of years as I got fear of failing. Oh no, just burn that fear of failing to the ground and play. Just play. I'm exhausted, and I'm doing a lot of work right now because we're doing the rebrand, and so every time I have spare time, it's like, oh no, I gotta work on this. But there's someone, an artist, and I don't even remember her name, which I'm embarrassed to say out loud because she's the mother of a friend of mine. But she's an artist, and she's going to be teaching an art class in town, and it was like, oh, I really want to do this, but do I have time? And it's like, just go play for 2 hours. It's not going to kill anything. In fact, it's going to be really, really helpful and really nourishing. So don't worry about the failure. Don't worry about the outcome. Just play. And when you see powdered rose petals, it is so luscious and so beautiful that maybe even just staring at it would be enough for you, but it just really wants you to touch it and play with it and smear it and do all sorts of things with it. So it'd be lovely to see what you come up with. Esther says rose jam, yum. I saw rose petals added to honey jar for teas, baking. Yes, yes, all of those things. Tree, who is our designer here, and my frister, bestie, sister, friend, she makes these. I think that they're gluten-free and vegan. I don't even know how that's possible, because when I think about vegan bakery, I feel like that's just a crime against humanity. No offense to vegans out there, but come on. Butter is needed in everything. So, but she makes these yummy chocolate cupcakes with this gorgeous chocolate frosting. And then she does rose petals. And if I am not mistaken, I think she also does, she does rose petals on top, and maybe, I could be making this up now because I'm hungry. Tree, are you watching this with pistachio crumbles? And am I making this up? But I think also like little flakes of like gold leafing. Oh my God. I want to cry. It's so good. They're moist and amazing. And she is such an amazing cook. Beautiful, beautiful chocolate and rose. Come on. There's no way to go wrong there. Emily says, I made rose infused honey with some raw local honey earlier in the year, and then used the honey to make homemade rose honey chocolates and cacao. Yeah, the chocolate and cacao butter and raw cacao powder for Beltane. Oh. You guys, we need to be having chocolate while we talk about this. Okay. Jilmar says, Chanel crafted a Chanel crafted a lovely rose body oil. It softens. Okay. Always count on Jilmar for the good resources for decadent love and self-care. Chanel body rose oil. I'm going to write all this down. Rose oil. Love it. Thank you. Emily, that sounds amazing. Oh, yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay, this is Esther. How can we use the herbs in the dream box? Are they okay for tea? They are okay for tea. So let me give you some caveats. Both of them are not recommended if you're pregnant. Damiana is a vasodilator, so it opens up your artery and veins, and so it increases blood flow. And this is why oftentimes Damiana is used in sex magic, because when you increase blood flow, you increase pleasure and sensation and all the good things. However, because it does that, it can, for some people, not everybody, it can for some people kind of mimic or trigger the sense of anxiety, which is kind of counter to falling asleep and dreaming. But for some, it doesn't, because it's also a relaxant. It's not a downer. It's not like a sedative, but it relaxes you because you open, right? And that's really given towards and supportive of sex magic, or sex in general, because it's also considered an aphrodisiac. But it opens you, right? So it has that energetic quality. So to have a little bit of Damiana before you go to sleep can help with dreams if you're not affected in a way that's going to keep you awake. So it's a little bit of a gamble. You need to know how you respond to it. If you don't know and you're a little concerned about that, then you can put it in a sachet and under your pillow. Same effect. You're still working with the botanical as an ally that's going to support you in this work. Mugwort is much more gentler in that it doesn't do that. There's no, at least not that I know of, it doesn't trigger that response in people. It's not a vasodilator. But it's a gentle opener so that you're able to receive. Some people experience mugwort to be super potent and some people don't. You don't need to have a lot, because really it's one of those things that when you're working with both the energy and the physical manifestation of that botanical, you almost don't need the physical. The energy will pull you forward. So if you have it at your bedside, you will be affected by it. But if you want to have the full visceral experience and you want your body to be in on the ride, it can be with the energy, but there's something about the sensation of what the herb does for you that also aids you. So this is where you need to be like your own best detective. See what it is. You don't need a lot. I don't even do 6 ounces of either before I go to sleep. Sometimes I only have like a couple of ounces and I'm done. It's just the ingesting, the coming into union with it, so that you have the experience and it supports you. Both are food grade, both can be had in teas. Damiana tastes a lot better than mugwort. Mugwort is not a good flavor. It just isn't. So let me just like dispel the myth that you're going to have a yummy tea. It's not yummy. It's like, it's not yummy. It's just not. So there are some of us, I've talked about this before. I have been under the care of an Ayurvedic practitioner in the past, where I am used to drinking swamp soup. Like, you get like a little baggie of like a gajillion crazy herbs as a way to heal yourself. I mean, it looks like sometimes I'm drinking mud. So I'm used to flavors like dirt and just green stuff, bitter things, right? Because this is our medicine. This is our botanical allies. So for me, it's like, I mean, yeah, okay, this is like any other day, but for some, it's like, holy cow, what is going on? I can never drink this. So just be prepared, be open and willing to embrace that it's like swamp soup. And, I would not recommend adding sugar to it. If you need a little bit of a sweetener, although honestly, it doesn't really help, but whatever. If you need a little bit of a sweetener, use honey instead. You don't want to add a stimulant, right? Because anything that sweetens, it's going to stimulate you. And what you want is to like slow down and relax. You can add, if you are not adverse to it, a little bit of milk to kind of round out the flavor. That helps a lot more than the sugar with mugwort, in my experience. And if you don't do dairy, you want a thick milk. So you want like an almond milk, or you want maybe even a cashew milk. And cashew milk can be a little sweet. So that would be a great way to do it, because the fat in the cashew will help kind of slow you down too. But again, you don't need a lot. So if you can just suck it up and have, a couple of swallows, you're good. But what I will say is this, because this is about magic and this is about energy. If you're going to be like drinking it like, you're kind of stunting the process. You really need to prepare yourself to just receive the whole thing as medicine and not be in active resistance to it. Yeah. In the deep dive video, if I am not mistaken, I talk about playing with it, where you just draw it out for a month, where maybe for the first 2 weeks, you only have the herb under your pillow or on your bedside. And then the second 2 weeks of the month, you drink it a little bit every night to see how that shifts, so that you can start to kind of get a gauge for how are you affected when it's just outside of you and you're coming into resonance with its energy, and how are you when you actually ingest it. That's a really beautiful and enriching exploration, because it really allows you to get really intimate with how you were affected and how these allies really support you in different ways. Again, we're our own scientists. It's like, this is where the juice is, when you really know how things affect you specifically, because the way they affect me is going to be very different than the way they affect you. And the relationship that you develop with the botanical is going to be very specific to you and the botanical. So like that. Let me drink some water because I'm getting a little dry. Okay, I read that. There's a lot of talk about links. I'm not going to read that. Alexa says, those books came just in time. I've been looking for energy support this month and last month's books. Yeah. And as a little sneak peek, next month's books will also, it'll touch on many things, but touch on energetic healing through a shamanic perspective. We've been going in on healing for like the last couple of months now. And I think that this next month's books will be the last of healing for a minute, but we're taking a deep dive. Yeah. Hold on, I lost the plot. Aye. And I lost the plot even more when it jumped. Thank you for being patient, because I have never, in all the years that I've been doing videos, been able to get a hold of why it is that my chat jumps everywhere. Okay, this is from Tracy. Would that be a good book to read for extreme grief? I'm a beginner seeker. Yes and no. So let me explain. The book is fantastic for managing through after the initial, so it could be helpful for you for managing through after the impact. It is not, we talked about this last night in our live, that there are specific physical and energetic things to do to move through trauma and to dislodge the impact of old trauma. And she talks about it's not an unusually complicated system. Once you get it, and it's phenomenal. And it's also paired with yoga postures that also help, because the body is involved. You have to address the energy of the body and the physicality of the body. So there are physical things to do, physical yoga postures to do, and then there is a whole mental process to go through as well. So you're moving through energy both mentally and physically. You've already gone through the impact of the trauma, and then this helps to move it. The idea is that you have to feel what you're feeling, but it's about consciously moving so that the energy doesn't get stuck. And so in that sense, yes, I do think that it would be helpful. Yeah. Originally I was going to say no, because you're in it, but you've already had the actual impact and now you're in the aftermath, and this is about how to keep moving that after impact. We have to feel it, but it's important to keep moving and not get stuck in a portion of the feeling. Because part of the question that came up too yesterday was, the world's on fire. Like, the world is on fire. We are in a constant state of being traumatized. Like, every second is a traumatic moment, because we're feeling the reverberations of the trauma everywhere, all the time. And so the exercise here to do, and they're like 5 simple, they're not 5. There are a couple of, they're simple yoga postures. It's not complicated. If you've never done yoga before, you can do these. You might hear, oh, maybe you're not hearing it. I'm looking at my little sound bar. There's some construction going on outside, so there's a loud saw happening. So apologies for that. That you do these practices every day in order to just keep it moving so that you can find yourself on the other side. So in that sense, yes, go for it. Absolutely. It's a phenomenal book. Phenomenal book. Every witch, especially witches who are interested in healing, I think should have this book. Wonderful, Esther. Perfect. My Andromedan cheese. Oh my God, that name. What is your name? I don't even understand. Awesome. My Andromedan cheese. You guys are so cool. I actually preferred Empty Cauldron, had some great journaling prompts, and what a great book that was. Hi. Had some great journaling prompts and rituals for managing depression. Also had thought-provoking perspectives on what depression manifests like. Yes. Both books, I cannot say enough about both books. Quite frankly, it was a really great book bundle that we should all have, because we need the support. And both books, this question came up, both books in the beginning clearly and responsibly have disclaimers that neither one of these books are replacements for actual medical professional care. These are supportive practices. They are part of our own personal responsibility for helping to mitigate what we're dealing with, on top of the care that we get from our professionals. Yeah. Christina says, do you have any advice on how to further direct dream work? I'm able to have great recall, but it is directionless. I love this box. Wonderful, Christina. Thank you. Yes, you might now want to start moving into the space of lucid dreaming. So lucid dreaming is when you go to sleep, and with all things in magic, you just start with the intention. Hold on, I need to drink water. You start with intention. You want to remember in the morning. So we start with the intention. I want to remember in the morning. After a while, you practice, and now you remember in the morning. Well, now you can start with the intention of, I want to wake up in the dream, right? So I want to be aware that I'm in the dream, and practicing that awareness is like the beginning of lucid dreaming, where now I'm in the dream and I'm aware that I'm in the dream and I can navigate in the dream. And some people use lucid dreaming just for fun, where you engage in fantasy, where you engage in flying and all the things that you really can't do in like the physical world. Lucid dreaming allows you a whole new playing field, and it can be a lot of fun, but you can also use it for magic. You can use it for meeting your guides. You can use it for learning things, for those downloads, right? Where you are actively seeking and receiving downloads and receiving connection with an other that you might want. So there are a lot of things that you can do in the dream time. People can set up spell work in the dream time as a way to really engage the subconscious and coming into alignment with what your conscious intentions for manifestation are. So there are a lot that there's a lot of things that you can do there. Hold on, I'm trying to think of his name. What is his name? He's a famous deceased writer. He wrote a book on lucid dreaming. Oh my God. We have covered so many of his books here. Emily, help me out. He's the one who wrote like I think it's Earth Magic and the Element book, and his name is on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, if you do a search on lucid dreaming books, I even think I may have done a review on his book on lucid dreaming. There's a lot of information there on a step-by-step, and it's a fairly small book. But there are also a bunch of other books out there on lucid dreaming that you can do. And also, hey, FYI, towards the end of the year, we're going to be releasing a whole Dreamwork course that's like a year-long practice. So it's like a big chunk of like, you want to do some big dream work, these are the steps and these are the grades of practice that you can go through until you get to a place where you're doing your magic and all sorts of things in the dream time. But that'll be towards the end of the year. Like that. Okay. Hold on. Okay, I read that. Okay, we talked about that. Emily says, honestly, if anyone was thinking about doing one of the retreats and you haven't just yet, just trust me, it's worth it. Thank you. It's worth it. And so much more to take part. The wisdom received and the value of the sacred. Beautiful. Connection is amazing. I know the connection is so beautiful between all of you. Emerence was there too. This last weekend was so fantastic. I know. I'm still like flying high on it. Esther says, will you be doing an in-person retreat in the fall? Bayavoy, bang baga, because yes, in September, I am still putting together the details. Be on the lookout in the next couple of weeks. We're going in and it's going to be magical and I'm so excited. So it's going to be great. Yes, we'll be doing one more in live before the year's over, and it'll be in the fall or right before the fall in September. In California, Southern California, again in Idyllwild. But how you say payavoy, like when I speak to people who speak proper Spanish, they're like, what? They don't ever understand me, but I love, because you're Puerto Rican, right? So it's like, we got it. Because I think it's like parayavoy or something. I don't know, Cubans and I think Puerto Ricans too tend to like chop off the end of every single word and just like run it through as one word. All right, anyway, let's move back. Trinks says, I have been following my dreams since I was little. I love that. I love to interpret them. I have recently been using Llewellyn's Complete Dictionary of Dreams. Wonderful. Emerin says, after everything that was oh gosh, I lost my place. After everything that was previews for what is brewing at the changes at the Witch's Box, Elena needs an account payment plan for everything that I just send money every week to cover all the subscriptions and retreats. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. Don't fall prey to FOMO, because FOMO is real and FOMO can be overwhelming. We're going to be offering many things, and a lot of them are going to be yearly and a lot of them are going to be evergreen. So if you cannot right now, it's okay. There will be next time. So don't fall into that trap, because then that can be super anxiety producing. So it's okay. You're not going to eventually you'll get there. Esther says, I will sometimes scatter rose petals on the walkway towards entrance to my Reiki studio. Oh, beautiful. It's a little something special for the person. Yes. I love that. I know. Trees, cupcakes. Listen, also Tree. I was talking to Tree yesterday on text, and it was maybe, I don't know what time it was my time, but it was around dinner time, your time. They're both in England, by the way, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. And she's like, I'm going to have to respond to you later. I'm going to be slow to respond, because she was making Rosie dinner, but it was chocolate cupcake or chocolate pancakes for chocolate pancakes for dinner. And I was like, I want chocolate pancakes. First of all, yeah, you need to have Tree cook for you, because she's amazing. Amazing. Oh my God. my mouth just, we are on a big chocolate kick today. What is happening? Lissam says the July box sounds amazing. Can't wait to play with herbs in new ways. Yes. And so they're all incenses, but I give you in the video all these different ways to work with them. And the August box, I've already revealed this because we sent out a couple of, maybe a couple of emails about this because I was trying to get a good number of who was going to want these boxes. For those of you who have been around for a hot minute, from 2019, now I don't remember if it was 2019 or 2018, when I sent out those moon mist sprays that everyone has still been begging for years. And I was like, I'm never going to make it again. Those are going to be in the August box. They're super special. I don't know if I'm going to make them again or not, but I'm going to be sending you the recipe. So you have it with you and you can make them over and over again after you get the initial spray, because we are still sort of considered small batch, but it is just really unwieldy to make. It's 3 bottles a box. We're looking at like, I don't even know how to do that math. Too many, into the thousands. It's like, it's a lot. So you're getting the full thing. You're getting the mists and you're getting the actual recipe so that you can make your own at home. And a couple of other goodies in that box that I'm really excited about. Yeah. Also really quickly, let me just say this to enlist your magic. Supply chains, it's a disaster. This is the life that we live. And I was able to find something for this box that is like, it makes me want to cry. It is so beautiful. And I'm still like in this back and forth. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it in time. I don't know that it's actually even going to arrive here. It's a thing, but send the supply chain, send the shipping system, like whatever energy you have, so that I can actually land this thing and get it in the box, because that August box, it'll just be complete in a really beautiful way. I want to cry. I want it so much. So hopefully I can get that to add to that mist box as well. So just send me some energy, because, it's been hit and miss with all sorts of things. Butter. Oh, butter. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what are we talking about? Butter. Butter is so great. So this is Emeren's butter. Oh my goodness. Because I miss so much being sick from COVID. I don't have the energy to make my own butter, bread, yogurt, cheese, etc. I'm so sick of delivery. I know there's a dance there, isn't there? Like sometimes I'm like, oh, all about the delivery, especially since I live up here and delivery is not a thing that we have. But I'll do delivery for a while. And it's like so great. And it's like, I hate everything delivered. I got to make everything from scratch. I can't deal with it. The last week I had been obsessed with gluten-free toast, toasted, drizzled with olive oil and salt. And then on top of it, I drizzle like finely chopped fresh basil and then fresh mozzarella on top with another drizzle of oil and another drizzle of like balsamic glaze. This has been my breakfast and lunch, because I do this. I go on obsessive kicks for the last week. Now today was the last one. I'm like, now I'm over it, but it has been so good. Okay. Hold on, because I got the butter. Tracy says, can I make mugwort or Damiana brownies, or will the baking process mess with the properties? Well, the baking process won't mess with their properties, but you're now mixing in other things in the process as well. You're mixing in chocolate, which is a stimulant. And although a chocolate can also be an opener and a vasodilator. It sounds delicious. It would certainly make mugwort more palatable. But here's what I would say to you. Try both. Do the tea on its own, the single thing, nothing else added, and see what that dream is like. And then the next day do the brownies and see how that affects you, because this is how we learn and this is how we know what works best for us. So definitely it cannot hurt you, right? It won't hurt. It'll just shift the way it affects you. And so then you need to just take that information in so that you know. Emily says, when I smoke mugwort, I like to add in Damiana and rose for the flavor. Oh, that's a nice little combo. Last time I swapped the rose for organic cacao powder. So mugwort, Damiana, and cacao smoking blend, and it tasted lovely. Oh my God. I love that. That's a great suggestion. Emily says, I love oat milk because it's creamy. Right. You want something creamy. Because if it's like rice milk or I guess rice milk is the only really watery one, but if it's like rice milk, it's too watery. You want something that's a little bit more, has more consistency and creaminess to it. The Sem says, I ground my Damiana and mugwort with a bit of dry cannabis and pinch the powder into a little cone and light and allow it to smolder. It smells amazing. Oh, that's a great combo too. Don't drink tea much, but should probably start. I love that. That's a great combo too. So look, we've got all these different suggestions. You can smoke it. You can burn it as an incense. In this box that's going out for July, there is a trance journey incense that has mugwort and wormwood in it. And so both of those also help you. Oh, that is so loud. Yeah, you guys can hear it. I know, I'm so sorry. The background is just too loud. Emerence says, as for my dreams, I'm prone to nightmares and very intense, bizarre dreams that makes no sense within my life. So I've been blocking them for decades. Should the box goodies help with this? I think that for you, it might be helpful to first start with protecting your night space, your dream space, like your bedroom. And then just begin the process of easing up on the blocking, just to see what starts to come through. If you work with certain allies, if you have a deity that you work with, if you have ancestors that you work with, you want to really create for yourself a solid container for when you're sleeping. For two reasons. One, because if you are just really, really open without strong boundaries, it could be that you're just picking up on everything, which is not helpful. But also because psychologically, you'll know that you've got people out there that have your back while you're dreaming and won't let things in. So you really want to work on establishing a system of protection and a particular container that is really strong, that you can feel confident in. Because that's where you need to start. You need to start with the boundary. And once that boundary is there, once you feel confident in the boundary and you start to ease up on the resistance to the dream, then you want to start to investigate slowly, like what's coming through, and really writing that down, because it could still very well be unresolved stuff. And I'd start there. From there, depending on what happens, then you can make decisions in terms of where you need to go. With the box, right, you've got the devil pod. This is your protective talisman. You can have that nearby. You can start to we've talked about this. I don't know that we talked about this a lot over the course of the last weekend. We did talk about this a lot in the first virtual retreat, where this is its own entity, right? In the world of animism, everything is alive. Everything has a consciousness. Everything has an imprint. And when we start working with things like this as talismans, they become their own entity. You can work with it in a way where it becomes an ally that you communicate with, that you partner with, and you start to develop a relationship with, where you begin to learn the ins and outs of what this is, what it does, and what it will do for you, and what it does with you in relationship. And so you want to start developing relationships with your talismans and your protective devices or tools, and so that you can trust them, because now you're in an engaged relationship with them, and you're asking them and you're tasking them with a particular job to do. You want a container that you can rely on, that you truly trust, not the I'm doing this because this is what I'm supposed to do, but who knows if it works. You really want to get into a space where you really feel it and can trust it before you begin to explore opening up again and risking what might or might not come through. So I would start with a really strong container that you work with regularly, no matter what you're doing. Always do, this is for everybody. No matter if you're doing dream work or not, you are most energetically vulnerable when you're sleeping. I mean, you're sleeping. The idea here is that you should completely surrender to your sleep, that you should completely just relax. Your body and your soul and your mind need this. We also need to dream. Neurologically, we need to dream. It's an imperative to our health. So you always want to create a container around the place that you sleep, because this is where you're most energetically vulnerable. So practice that. and establish really routine and consistent rituals around how you do that. And then once you feel like, I really trust this, I really feel this, then start opening up. Okay, wait, hold on. Then start opening up to the dreaming to see what starts to come through. Okay. So all that to say that I would not start with the Damiana and I would not start with the mugwort yet. I would start first with the protection. Jilmar says, my body remembered slowly as I practiced curvy yoga with Ann Guest jelly. Oh, I love it. I love that there is, I don't know who this is, but I'm going to check out curvy yoga. I love it. Scott Cunningham. That's exactly who I meant. Thank you, Emily. Holy cow. So Scott Cunningham wrote a check on lucid dreaming. You can check that out. Hold on. Dreaming the Divine. Thank you. Dreaming the Divine is the name of the book. Curls and Pearls, cute name. I'm so mad at myself. I've been waiting for this group all month, and whatever reason, I actually slept in and couldn't wake up. Has anyone else just been drained and can't seem to recharge? I mean, I think the whole world is basically at that place. Don't beat yourself up about it. Totally common. You can watch what you missed on the replay. It's really very difficult to not just be in a constant state of depletion at this point. This is a conversation that we need to have at some point, and I don't know how to deliver it, maybe another live or something, but we have to get really discerning and fiercely almost fiercely relentless about keeping our lives clear and simple. Like, don't take on too much. Be very clear about what you're going to focus on and what you're not. Don't spend a lot of time wasting on news or internet, like social media and the blah blah blahs and the gossip channels because it's all an energy leak, and we can't afford to really leak any energy right now. The world is on fire. We have economic crisis going on. We've got war crisis going on. We've got civil liberties being, just hacked away at. It's like bizarro world everywhere. You need to be fiercely, fiercely protective of your energy and your attention because we are already depleted. There's very little at this point to do to avoid the impact of what's going on in the world. And you don't want to necessarily avoid it so that you're hiding in the sand, but you wanted to do so in a way where I'm going to engage in what's happening in the world when I choose to. And in the meantime, everything I do is about nourishment and restocking my power because we're going to need it. So if you're feeling that drain and you can't get recharged, I think that it's where we're all at. And it's a very common thing. And it's a very natural thing to be experiencing given what's going on everywhere. We're all in an energetic field together. There's no way to avoid the effects of what's going on everywhere. Which is, that's right. You're Costa Rican, but you're married to a Cuban. Okay. So you got a mixture in there somewhere. Tracy, Tree, please share your cupcake recipe. I don't think Tree's here right now, but we'll have to talk her into passing it out. Yeah. Curls and Pearls says, I deleted Facebook and it got rid of my FOMO. That is the best thing ever. I don't have Facebook on my phone anymore. And because of that, I rarely look on my computer anymore. And it's been amazing. Like if I post to Facebook, it's usually because I've posted something to Instagram, and I'm spending less and less time on Instagram too, which is bittersweet because I used to love Instagram a lot, but lately it's just like, oh my God, I just can't. Okay. I'm going to trust that Emily's going to answer that question. Dolores just got here. Sprays and recipes for next Witches Box. No. The July Witches Box is incense and recipes, and the August Witch Box is mists and recipes. Say that 5 times fast. Emran says, it's not FOMO. Don't have issues with FOMO at all. I need all the goodiness with everything you're working on because I enjoy learning. Wonderful, especially in this subject, learning equals breathing. Oh, learning equals breathing. I love that. Drizzle me, Elena. That toast sounds divine. Now I'm hungry. I mean, it's kind of the simplest. I do this every few years where I get obsessed with a caprese salad. It's like the best summer meal ever. Like you get like mozzarella that's fresh, right? In water, the fresh in water mozzarella with like basil and the only time I really like tomatoes is in the salad, a slice of tomato, then you drizzle it with a really good olive oil, a really yummy. I prefer, although I love any balsamic vinegar, but I prefer a balsamic glaze. Glaze, some crackled salt and crackled pepper. I mean, that's all you need, but now I'm just putting it on a piece of bread. Yum. Callum says, I'm going to try adding a teaspoon of mugwort to my evening tea, but I'll leave out the honey this time and see how it goes with the dream journal. Perfect. Emerald says, background noise is not too bad. Okay, good, because it's like, it's a lot with ears infected. Oh, well, ears infected. Some things I have difficulty hearing, but I'm hearing you just fine. Good. But you know it's sawing. It is like we have a deck around this little cabin, and the deck was just like the deck skirt has been like beginning to rot. It was a situation. So we finally were like, we need to just, because at this point the deck is just going to collapse. So they're fixing that so that we have an actual deck that, you know, can hold people. Oh, you're welcome, Christina. Jilmar says, fresh iron bed sheets assist me with a peaceful sleep. I mean, I feel like Jilmar is the priestess of all things luxurious comfort. We all need to be like in this luxurious comfort to do our magical work in the best way possible. This is my new thing. So Jilmar, I am coining you the priestess of all things luxurious. I love it. Drinks. Occasionally my dreaming disrupts my husband's sleep. Will the devil pod protect him as well? The devil pod can protect him if you ask it to, and that he needs to be on board with that as well, right? So, and we talked a little bit about this in the deep dive video where, you know, there's always like, not everyone, but every once in a while someone will be concerned like, well, I have someone else in bed with me. Is it okay? Is it ethical if I cast a circle? And obviously they're going to be in it, because if I'm casting a circle around the entire room, there is a world where when you partner with someone, even if it's like a casual partnering, there is an energetic collusion with, I'm in it with you, whatever it is for right now, right? That's not to say that you shouldn't communicate. Definitely communicate and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Are you in on it with me so that it can be something that you're included in? Or do you feel comfortable with me including you in the protection? It doesn't hurt to be in communication. And what we are looking for is always to be in a right relationship with our magical tools, with our entities, and with the people in our lives. So yeah, totally. I mean, the thing is that when we work with things like this, we imbue it with the intention that we have, for good or bad. There's no really major rules around that. The intention is set, the request is made, whatever that is, and then it goes from there. But when you have someone sign on with you, that empowers the tool even more. Okay, we're going to go for another 9 minutes because I know it's been a long time. Callum says, I have a statue of the Morrigan as a fairy next to a green woman, forest guardian statue, and a green man tea candle holder on top of a glass cupboard filled with crystals to watch over my bed. Oh my God, that sounds glorious. Curls and Pearls says, Curls and Pearls, love it. What are the best ways to protect your energy and cleanse it? Oh, that is like a large conversation. I'm going to throw a couple things at you and then move on because we've got now like less than 9 minutes. Well, we just mentioned a couple of things. Number one, really be discerning about what you take in and what kind of stimulus you take in. Hours scrolling through Facebook is not going to help you. You want to really be very discerning about the value of what you let touch you. Let's talk about that. The value of what you let touch you energetically. Am I spending an hour because I'm just exhausted and want to check out with like just numb scrolling through Twitter or Facebook and just taking in all of the nonsense and the lying? Because let's talk about how there's all of these people now actively trying to mislead everyone. It is a low ground energy in the worst possible way. If I am just like scrolling through that, my energy is being touched. I'm being depleted. We need to only really engage in things of the highest, most integrous value. It's not easy, especially in this world, to make those choices all the time. But the more you make those choices, the more you're going to manage and keep your energy clear and in alignment, which is more important. So Where do I choose to put my energy? Who do I choose to engage in? What kind of conversations do I choose to have? Am I engaging in gossip? Am I not engaging in gossip, but am I sitting around listening to gossip? All of these things begin to deplete you. Am I spending time, and this gets a little bit more complicated, but are there relationships in my family where I'm always like engaging with someone even though I really don't want to because I feel really uncomfortable because they never really respect my boundaries? You need to start making choices about not being around that. That's not a place of value. It's not a place of honor, and it's not a place of respect. And so the more we begin to make those choices, the more, just as part of our daily personal culture, we keep our energy clear and keep an integrity and alignment with ourselves. Then there are other things, the magical things. When you walk in from outside, you've been out in the world all day long, and you come in, take off your shoes. It's not a Southern California woo-woo thing. It's you're carrying energy on the bottoms of your shoes. You've been all over the place. You don't know what you've picked up. Put your shoes outside or put your shoes on the door, and then enter your home and keep your home clean. Clean your home, right? Being like literally physically clean your house, because that tends to the space, that keeps the space clear, that keeps the space attended to and honored, which then holds you. And then that helps to protect and keep your energy clear. The bathing that we do is important. It's a cleansing ritual. Doing that during a dark moon, specifically to really let go of the things that you've picked up that don't serve you, is really important. Always, always, always setting a protective space in your bedroom when you sleep is also very, very important. The way that we eat, because the body is just as much a part of us as our soul. What we put in our bodies is at the highest value. And I'm not talking about going to Gelson's and spending like $50 on an ounce of steak. I mean, is it wholesome, whole food that's going to nourish you, or is it food that's depleting you by every bite, right? We need to make choices about what we engage in and what we take in. And that's how we maintain over time, every day, our energy and clearing it. I hope that's helpful. Let me drink some water because we have 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Everyone's talking to each other. I won't read that. Fiercely defining the life home energy I will allow within, which is surely challenging for my sensitive self. Yes, people who are super sensitive and openly empathic, your life work, believe it or not, this is for all of us who are empathic and identify as sensitive. I don't particularly identify as sensitive in that way, but I'm empathic. Your life work isn't actually to feel and give the message of what you get to other people. That is not your life work. Your life work is actually to understand boundaries and to understand where you begin and where you end, and being able to respect that. It is hard. It is humbling. It is not easy, but that is the life work. And from there, all sorts of things open up. Oh, that was, yes. The sacred cottage. My husband and I are both affected by the pod. His nightmares have been doing really good now. Wonderful. My husband and I are both practitioners. Beautiful. But he loves that I do that because it helps him. Perfect. Beautiful. And I mean, I don't know if you do this or not, but one of the really lovely thing to do is if you have a protective sleep altar or bedroom altar, that both of you create it together and weave what you want on that altar together. It can be beautiful, like a couple practice. Emran says, a long time ago, I turned off Facebook notifications and made life much better. And lately I have do not disturb, turn on my phone always. I enable the important stuff, can ignore everything else. Yeah, that do not disturb button is everything. The Sacred Cottage says, most of the time it's the belief of the person. What I do always affects my husband. It may not be that way for other people's relationships due to their own belief systems. I mean, we're in each other's space. When you live, it's impossible to not affect each other. It's impossible. You're overlapping energy bodies all the time. Whether you think that's true or not, there's no way. And because both people have endeavored to do life together, you're intertwined in a way that even you may not have consciously tried to intertwine that way, but you necessarily are. I have like a weird little hair that's tickling me weird. What is it? Did I read that? Or no, this is from Trinks. My husband and I have a very close bond, so almost everything I do affects him. I'm glad I'm glad the energy drain has come up. I've been struggling with it myself. The Sacred Cottage says drinks is the same for my husband. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. Alexa says, did a deep home cleansing today and took a glorious bubble bath with Epsom salt afterwards. When I tell you I feel 100% better energetically, mentally, physically, you name it. I know. And it works. It works. Invest in Epsom salt, everybody. It's cheap. It's not like it's a fairly inexpensive thing, pretty much probably everywhere, I think. You can get it at Rite Aid. You can get it at like CVS here in the United States. I'm not sure about England, but a cup or two, I go big on my Epsom salt in the bath. I put quite a lot, but a cup or two of Epsom salt in a bath can do wonders for you energetically. Salt is like and Epsom salt isn't totally salt. It's a couple of other things, but salt is a miracle ingredient. The Sacred Cottage says we actually, okay, I read that. Oh, that you actually do. We have a couples practice like that. It's beautiful. Callum says it's me, myself, and I in my room, but my familiar Nala the cat. I love that I have a friend who has a dog named Nala. Sleeps with me and my mom. Her boyfriend and his mom all live in a separate section of the house, so it's all my energy concentrated. Beautiful. Lissom says, excited for the next few boxes. August will be my first, oh my God, your first year anniversary with the group, and I can't imagine not continuing on. I am so grateful for all the knowledge and support for everyone. Thank you, Lissom. Congratulations on your first year anniversary. That's wonderful. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. All right, my loves, this was exciting. I have missed you all. And so it's really nice to still have these monthly gatherings. August, I'll be back. Although at the end of July, we'll do another one of these for the sacred, it's called the Sacred Smoke Box. So we'll talk about sacred smoke and all the things to do with it. Let me drink some water. Be on the lookout in the newsletter for information on our next virtual retreat. And the next live retreat. I'm not quite sure yet the dates for the virtual retreat, but the virtual retreat will be on the witch wound. This was, I don't see him here, but this was a suggestion by one of our community members, Ralph, which it hit so hard. I'm like, how have we not done this? We should have done this first. So we're going to do a virtual retreat on the witch wound. And then the live retreat will be about, it'll all be like a lead up and a working through for an initiatory ancestral ritual. And I'm really excited about that. It'll be a big one. And that'll be it for this year. And then they'll pick up again next year in terms of retreats. So be on the lookout with the newsletter for the dates and all of the information for all of that. And I will see you at the end of July at another one of these lives for that box. And then until then, we're on social media. We are, we're on social media. You can get a hold of us there. And I think that's it. Bye-bye. Let me see what I've missed before I go. I use it so much, I'm surprised I don't float. Where would I find more info on the life work you are talking about? On the life work you're talking about? Because yes, I'm empathic and my dreaming, but the suggestion for more info. Emirates, I need to think about that because I can't think of an actual book for that. I know that there are a couple of people doing workshops around that, but I don't know what they are off the top of my head. So let me look into that and then I can maybe post it in the forum. You're welcome, Emily. Esther says, I have to use spiritual baths weekly or monthly. Also homemade cleansing waters in a bottle to use and sprays helps me cleanse. Yes. Florida water, colonias. Yes. That's those smells just take me back. I haven't. Beautiful. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, you're here. Okay. So thank you for that suggestion. We're going to do the witch wound. Boom. Like that. Well, I want to be I know we need to do one in England. I know we do. Maybe next year we have to get like a little like powwow and plan for next year. Maybe like Beltane or something, but yeah, we need to do something in England, or we just need to bring you both from England over to the United States again. Hello, or for the first time. Alexis, okay, you're welcome. Okay, all the things. Pamela mixes Epsom salt, pink Himalayan salt, sage, and rosemary for a bath. Oh, that's a really good cleansing bath. That's a good little recipe right there. Thank you, Pamela. I know I love hanging out with you all as well. Looking into flight prices right now. All right. I love you all. Thank you for being here. And we'll see each other. We'll see each other soon. It's happening. Time is flying by really quickly, so things will get back to normal in August. That's it. Love you all. Have a wonderful week and have a wonderful weekend. I guess there's a big holiday coming up in the United States this weekend. May it be safe and easy on your nervous system, because it's always an intense one around here. All right, my loves. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you later. Bye.